Welcome back to my channel and a happy new year to everyone that watches. Today we're gonna kick off the new year with a Starbucks Copycat Cranberry Bliss bar, but we're making it vegan and gluten-free. Now I've never made this before, so we're gonna cut it in half today and see how it goes. Let's get right into the ingredients. First up, let's grab our dairy-free butter. I'm using Basil today, and we're going to need 1/4 cup. Now, in this recipe, it didn't actually say like if you're supposed to beat the butter or what, it just said soften, so I'm going to try melting it and see what happens. I just feel like this recipe, melted butter, makes sense. While that's melting, let's get our dry ingredients together. 1 cup of 1-to-1 gluten-free flour. I'm using Bob's Red Mill today. 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of cane sugar. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and don't forget to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of ginger powder, or ground ginger. Let's give this a whisk. Okay, for the next part, we're going to do the wet, but as I'm just doing this now, the recipe calls for orange extract, however I have an orange, so I was thinking of just using orange zest. What I should have done, thinking ahead, is put the zest in with the sugar to let it, it pulls out more of the extract first before adding it in, but that's fine. We're just gonna zest our orange separately and then just put it in with the wet ingredients. To start our wet ingredients, we'll need our butter, so 1/4 cup. And I think you'll see why I said that I think melting it is actually the better idea with this, because beating it just doesn't really make sense for a recipe like this, in my opinion. 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. For our next ingredient, this is where I'm kind of switching things up. I had some coconut yogurt that was just left over. I had frozen it and used it yesterday for some cookies. So we're just going to measure this out and then add the rest plant milk to what we have. You can probably use either or, but we're going to need 1/4 cup and 2 tablespoons. So we'll start by just scooping and seeing how much yogurt I have. I was debating using all yogurt when I wrote this recipe, or all plant milk, so up to you. I did make a note. If I was using all yogurt, I would do 1/2 cup instead of the 3/4 cup for the full recipe, of course, not for the half recipe. So we're just gonna go with the full amount of liquid, air on the side of caution with gluten-free needing more liquid. So I'm gonna fill the rest with plant milk, so 1/4 cup and 2 tablespoons in total. Next up, let's zest our orange. I'm not gonna really measure it. I'm just gonna do maybe like half. You know, just let your ancestors guide you when you're doing this. In the full recipe, if you're doing zest, you could probably do like a whole tablespoon or like a whole orange. Okay, I think that feels good to me. That was like half-ish. Now let's just make sure we go ahead and scoop all of this goodness out. Let's give this a whisk. Like, do you see why I thought that melting the butter would be a better idea? Like, could you imagine if you just had it soft? Like, it would be, I don't know, it'd be creamy. Anyways, in my opinion, this is looking amazing. Let's go ahead and add our last ingredient. 3/4 cup of dried cranberries. I think mine are sweetened. I just grabbed these ones. They do have sugar, so cranberries are extremely tart. And I remember back in the day, I was making oatmeal raisin cookies, like when I was a teenager. I had just let the raisins rest in the butter, like the warm melted butter, before I had added them, so they kind of plumped up. And I was debating kind of doing something like that. So if these turn out really good, I think I'll try that next time. So I'm going to just try and make sure these are all like separated and there's no clumps of them together. Next, let's bring our dry back and then we'll add our wet ingredients. Give us a little mix here. See how it's looking. Imagine this batter is super dry. It's literally my worst fear, unless it's like cookies, then obviously that's fine. But I feel like a kind of brownie-ish, scone-ish recipe shouldn't be super dry, and now I'm scared. I think this is a good time where we can add our actual last ingredient, white chocolate chips. So I have the Enjoy Life. I found them on sale on Amazon. Amazing, because they're like 10 bucks a bag and they were only like 5 something. So I'm just gonna do 1/4 of a cup. Maybe that'll be too much. We're drizzling some on top as well. And I do feel like this is going to be way too dry. I have no idea if this recipe, where I found it or whatever. This just seems like it's going to be too dry. We're gonna do 2 more tablespoons. And I wrote down gluten-free, so like, I don't know. I think this was originally a gluten-free recipe. So this is really strange. I usually don't have to, you know, be adding more stuff like this. You know, this is why you just make a judgment before you actually bake it. Honestly, I thought this was going to be a really thin, cakey type of batter, not like thick. Okay, this is much better. This is looking perfect. I think this won't be too dry when we bake it. Okay, perfect. Now, like I said, this is a half recipe, so I'm using an 8-inch round cake pan. That way we can make little triangles out of it instead. But you could use a brownie pan, like a 9x9. If you make the full recipe, you could also do muffin cups or little, if you have mini brownie squares, that would work too. Okay, and let's just try to press it. Even this, if these are dry, I swear to God. But sometimes you can't judge the batter on how moist or dry things are going to end up. All right, we're gonna pop this in the oven for about 20 minutes. Like I said, the measurements were kind of off. This is a half recipe. I'll check it at 10, see where we're at. Alrighty, 20 minutes later, we have some browning on the little peaks and on the edges, and I put a toothpick in. Looks good, looks cooked through. I think the little cracks there are some good evidence that is also finished cooking. It's looking amazing. Honestly, it smells so good. Like, it smells like the orange and the cranberry smell so good. So we're gonna let it cool down now, probably like almost fully, and then we'll melt down our chocolate chips and drizzle. Now, I don't have a microwave, so the best way I always do it is by using a small pot of water, about 1/4 to halfway full. I'm gonna go bring it to a boil on the stove. And we will eyeball about 1/2 cup of our white chocolate chips. You, of course, can use more or less, just depending. That's probably more, but just depending on, you know, how much you want. Now, it doesn't have to be to a boil, but you want to just put your heat-proof safe dish over top and then just remove it from the heat, or put it back on the burner and just turn the burner off until they look melty. Alrighty, y'all, our chocolate is looking perfection. So I'm just going to leave it on top of here where it can stay warm. This is looking so good, y'all. So this white chocolate is pretty thick, but I don't really want to go crisscrossing because I think it'll just look messy. So I'm going to try and just keep it in a line. You could alternately probably just, you know, pour it over the whole top. Okay, that cut really, really nicely. Oh my God, they're going to look so cute. Okay, let's look at one of the pieces. Oh my God. Okay, I mean, it does look a little bit wet on the bottom, but like, it looks so good. OMG, I think it's just like the lighting that's making it look like that. Let's give it a taste. Now, where was the one that I was gonna eat? The chocolate is just so beautifully like melting all over. Ooh. Oh, this is so good. The cranberries with the orange zest and the white chocolate. Oh my God. This is so good. Like, look at that. I was so scared that it looked like too wet and that I just royally messed up, but delicious. This is so good. I was thinking it'd be like dry like a scone. This is so good. The cranberry orange is like such a good combo. And the white chocolate. Oh, the texture. Yeah, it's more like a bar for sure, not like a, it doesn't seem too wet. What a good combination. Okay, I'm so happy with this recipe. Next time I'll try it with just like all milk maybe. The yogurt might be a little bit heavy for it. So definitely I would just try using milk completely instead of having some yogurt. I feel like you would maybe get a lighter texture because it is very heavy. But hey, fabulous. Excellent. I love this. Delicious. Okay, that's it for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope you try this recipe out for yourself. They turned out amazing. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye!